Hey Sagittarius, I hope you're doing well. Let's go ahead and get into your second portion of March reading for 2019. I've already shuffled these cards, but let's do a little bit more. Yeah, let's get into it. Okay, Sagittarius. So the Empress, Sagittarius, could be dealing with Taurus energy. The Empress is about abundance. She's about taking care of yourself, but taking ownership of what is rightfully yours. You know, whether that... Sometimes we have to change the views of how we look at our lives. Sometimes we have to recognize where we push things away that might be beneficial for us. Either we sometimes come from an energy where it's like there's a level of lack in our mind, where we worry like almost too much, you know. This is about bringing abundance. This is about bringing satisfaction to your life. And I don't mean on just like the materialistic, mundane level, even though this card definitely talks about materialistic energy and abundance in that regard. But I feel more here like a nurturance of the self. And I talk about that quite a bit in a lot of the readings that I do, but it's true. It's like a theme in life that we all kind of need to get on board with. Like, nurture yourself. It's healthy. We already got cards. Here we go. So, on the table, I'm going to put these two together, actually. We have the Seven of Wands in reverse with the King of Swords in reverse. So, you know, if you're dealing with an air sign, Aquarius, Libra, Gemini, they may be very cold, they may be very distant, but you also may just be not wanting to deal with this person anymore, you know, because it doesn't bring this type of abundance. It doesn't bring this healthy mindedness, okay? It's more energetically distraught and devoid of emotion. Like, if you're dealing with that type of energy, it's almost as if you're just not even wanting to engage, cutting it out entirely. This is giving up on a situation, not caring about it enough to engage anymore. And if you've been doing that with somebody who's been very cold or distant, very distant, at the bottom of the deck, you have the Queen of Swords in reverse. So I just want to mention this, like King and Queen here, Seven of Wands. If you are the wife of somebody and you're like done on the outs with your hubby or husband with wife, either way, it doesn't have to be just one or the other. It's general reading. It's either way. You could be more interested in going after what works best for you in your life, what makes you feel happy, what stabilizes your energy, what makes you thrive. Here we have a failure to communicate. Here we have a very icy couple, a very frustrated, angry couple who are more so inclined to fight and mentally abuse each other than say work on things together. And it might also be a situation too where one of you is having to leave because you're too tired of it and maybe going to a mother's home or your sister or cousin, aunt, somebody who you trust. Could be a friend who is in a better place than you are. Or you could be that friend for somebody who's in a situation like this. So yeah, You have the Six of Swords flying out here with the Eight of Cups at the bottom of the deck. Somebody's getting out of Dodge. Somebody doesn't care anymore. Somebody doesn't want to be a part of a situation anymore. Somebody feels that it would be better to be involved on their own. Again, you may be leaving and choosing to go to stay with somebody. But overall, somebody's going, and that's the intention. It doesn't seem like there's any desire here to heal a thing. It's like, let it go, okay? So, let's see what else we have for you, Sagittarius. Yeah. Here we have a desire to move towards what we want, you know, by letting go of the situation, by getting out of here, by changing the direction of your course intentionally. You bring in what you want. You bring in more so things that are going to be more so energetically engaged in what you want versus stagnation here with somebody who you can't get any type of communication with. Yeah, it's emotionless and harsh. Yeah, this is the energy that you're kind of sharing between each other. You know, harsh, cutting energy where we're lying to each other, backbiting, backstabbing. You know, not using your better judgment in regard to communication, but also not even wanting to anymore. Like, this is kind of a cry for help in a certain way, but also a cry to abandon. That's kind of what I feel about that energy right there, is like it's a desire to abandon a situation. Because it doesn't work. Let it go. It's talking about letting it go. Some of you may be having a difficult time letting it go. Some of you just may be like, you know, I do want to say this too, like, be careful about ego, just because sometimes we don't want to come off as like vulnerable to our friends or our family or the people that we know because we want to maintain some sort of like status standing, or we're strong enough to deal with anything. Fuck that. Like, don't stay in a situation because that's like the mental space that you're in. Like, you don't need to prove anything to anybody. You know, it's time to walk away. And if you're having a hard time walking away, like, really pay attention to how you feel about the situation at this point. Are you happy not communicating with this person effectively? Are you happy fighting? Would you rather just stop fighting? It's kind of that type of situation. Like, what do I want out of this anymore? Because it doesn't feel like it's going anywhere. Show me more for Sag. Knight of Cups in reverse here. Yeah, I mean, the Knight of... Oof, I'm dropping everybody. The Knight of Cups in reverse talks about essentially somebody who blows smoke up your ass, somebody who is emotionally deceptive, you know. It's hard, you know, and I think I said in the beginning of this video that there is an energy here where like we're being devoid of emotion. We are fighting, you know, and like kind of being harsh about it, very blunt fighting that's aimed at hurting, you know. This type of energy lends itself to that. This isn't somebody you want to be around, Sagittarius. This is an energy that is deceptive in nature. It's somebody who is not in tune with their emotions, somebody who doesn't know how to effectively communicate their emotions. You may also just be at an impasse entirely, where it's like you don't want to communicate, and when you do communicate, it's almost like backbiting, frustrating, angry energy. That's kind of what it feels like here. More for Sagittarius. So you have the World in reverse, Sagittarius. Some of you may be having a difficult time like letting this go, just because I want to say be careful with tit for tat. Like, you know, if you're in a situation that's just like god awful and you're fighting, like, don't stay in it to fight. Some people enjoy fighting. I don't enjoy fighting. Like, it makes me ill. Like, I can't be a part of that. Some people thrive off of that. I don't get it, but some people do. It's like an ego boost. It feeds some sort of negative pattern, whatever it does, but it's not healthy. Don't stay in that. Here with the world in reverse, it's like rehashing things, not letting things die. This is a call for something to die so we can have incredible change. We can learn from the lessons. Here we're not learning from the lessons. We're just perpetuating the issue. You know? Don't be an antagonist. Don't try to fight with somebody just to win. Nobody's going to win here. Like, you win by removing yourself. Some of you are going to need to block communication with this person. Some of you, it's just a halt of communication altogether. Not moving forward with anybody. There's no, it doesn't work. The path is closed. Ye shall not pass. Like, yeah, no. Tell me more for Sagittarius. So the outcome card, you have the Queen of Pentacles in reverse. The Queen of Pentacles is Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn energy. She's also somebody who is just out of sorts entirely. She's impatient. She's frustrated. She doesn't care about herself. She's not nurturing herself. It very much, upright, this card very much talks to me about the Empress, actually. But in reverse here, it's like a need to get things started again, a need to step back into our own personal role of caregiver in our lives, of nurturer. You know, the Empress is a nurturer. She cares about herself. She feeds herself good things. And I don't just mean good food. She puts good things in her life, in her mind, in her pathway. She is a part of things that are healthy and good. You know, if you're in a situation fighting with somebody constantly, always at odds, being backbiting with a person, there's no end to it. That goes against your productivity. It's impractical to be in that type of situation. It's painful, and it doesn't cause anything to grow. Like, it doesn't cause growth. It's counterintuitive to growth, counterproductive, intuitive. It doesn't promote growth. So let's clarify the people in this reading. Clarify the Empress. So here you have the 10 of Pentacles here, okay? So this is going towards what works. It came out 50-50, so I'm going to read it both ways. This is going towards what works for you, building your own finances, taking care of yourself, becoming hella intuitive with your money, really taking the reins of your life and making something of it, really changing things financially on a financial front. That's very, very positive for financial abundance here. But it also talks about going towards family. It talks about connecting with family, reconnection with family, people who you trust, not people who you feel, you know, at odds with. It's people who you trust, who you can communicate freely with, who you can be honest with, who you don't fight with, and they welcome you back. If you're going back to a situation, you like a family situation after this, to get out of this, to build your own stability, that's great. But like, you're coming, the energy here, not all of you are dealing with this, but the energy here is somebody who's coming from a very, very like nebulous, like vacuous, empty space, fighting with somebody, and it feels like the vibration is way down here. And you need to feel supported. That's what I'm feeling. There's an energy here where it's like you need to feel supported in regard to the next steps in your life. And so if you are going towards a family member, you know, allow it and embrace it. They love you. That's what it feels like, Sagittarius. But for those of you that are dealing with a situation where you're just leaving it and you're doing something on your own, you don't have to go to a family's thing. You end up with a lot of abundance here, and it's very positive. In reverse, it can also talk about letting go of a relationship here, because we have the King and Queen of Swords here. They're both in reverse. Yeah. You know, we have the Eight of Cups too. That talks about a fair amount of time and energy put into something where we like emote and emotionally give to something. If it's no longer working, it might be best to move away from it. This is talking about moving away from a situation, but it talks about going towards something that makes you feel better about yourself, about your surroundings, about your bank account. Yeah, that's what it feels like to me. Okay. Show me the King of Swords in reverse. Yeah. So you have the Chariot here with the 10 of Cups at the bottom of the deck. If this is the dissolve of a long-standing relationship, it could be a marriage as well. But if it's the dissolve of that, you know, we have to come to grips with the emotions of it. We have to feel emotion here. Some of you, honestly, it doesn't even feel like there's like emotions being felt. It's just fighting. That's not healthy. But you have to balance your energies out. You have to move forward towards what you want. You could be moving towards a Cancer. You could be dealing with a Cancer. It doesn't have to be. This is ruled by Cancer, Cancerian energy. But the Chariot, pardon me, it talks about energies being balanced. It talks about finding harmony in a situation and moving forward towards something very successfully, positively. Now, that doesn't mean you need to find success in this relationship. This just means you balance your energies out. You recognize what no longer works for you and you move away from it, you know? When you balance your energies out, when you're able to cultivate, you know, the understanding of what makes sense for you and what doesn't, and you get to sit with that and be good with it, that's when we balance things out, and that's when we move forward. And the Chariot talks about moving forward to something that's positive, you know? But we have to feel our emotions. We're going to be in a very, very low place in emotions at this point, but like it's also letting go of things like this. 10 of Cups, 10 of Pentacles, letting go of long-standing situations. You may have children with this person. You could be a mother. Okay, Sag? Okay. Show me the Knight of Cups. The Knight of Cups in reverse. Why is the Knight of Cups in reverse? So you have the Star here. Sorry for the glare. And the Hermit at the bottom of the deck in reverse. Yeah, you know, this situation is calling for you to remove yourself and heal. Here we've either done that or neglected to do that. And I feel it's a bit of both. I feel it first starts out being as a neglect to do that. We're neglectful to do that, either because we are addicted to hurting each other, hurting ourselves, staying in situations that are very negative, that just provide toxic bond. And that's hard to get away from sometimes. But here, the Hermit in reverse, it's like, for those of you who have done the work, for those of you who understand that this doesn't serve you anymore, and I'm talking like not just on an emotional level, but like more so like it affects you spiritually. Like it makes you second guess your life. Like, why are you in this? It makes you second guess the meaning of why you're here. Like, not everybody knows that, but like the meaning of life. But like it's more so you have to recognize where this hits you on all fronts, on all of your spectrums. Like it's multifaceted. That's what I'm talking about here. And it's something where we can emotionally heal, but we have to step away from this. We have to trust the path that's moving forward, we're moving forward towards, and trust that, because when we do that, we essentially, we move towards a very, very positive thing. You know, anytime your energy is so low and you just keep perpetuating it, it's like you have to let it go. You have to let it change and like live and lift, breathe. This is talking about that. It's talking about trusting your guidance, trusting your intuition. It's talking about believing that this is done, letting it go. Show me the Queen of Pentacles in reverse. Yeah, here. It's the Seven of Pentacles in reverse with the Four of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck in reverse as well. This is letting go of a situation. It's giving up. It's not wanting to be part of a thing anymore. It's not seeing the stability in something on an emotional level, on a financial level. There's no point in like trying to flaunt this for people, you know, and I think that I say that because did I mention earlier? I think I did. I mentioned something about like trying to keep up an appearance, trying to keep up a facade. Did I say that? Was that this reading? I don't know. Maybe it was. Maybe it wasn't. Who knows? Anyhow, don't try and keep a facade. Don't try and like, I don't know. Don't try to fake it. Feel your feelings and be vulnerable. Scorpio had something about being vulnerable too. Accountability versus vulnerability. That's what the name of their thingy was. And they were they had a very hard time accepting accountability, because by accepting accountability for what they did, they also had to accept their vulnerability. And that was very, very difficult. And there's some of that energy that's present here. Okay? So, but letting it go, no longer wanting to be in a situation, it doesn't provide stability. You're essentially checking out. Yeah, it's like we recognize that this doesn't work. It's not, I don't want to say prudent, but I mean, it's not productive. That's what I want to say. It's not productive. Show me the world in reverse for Sagittarius. Yeah, so the world in reverse, you have the Nine of Wands in reverse here, Sag. The Nine of Wands in reverse with the Eight of Wands in reverse, we just have a continuum here. You know, either staying in this cycle, continuating, perpetuating a situation, not letting something die when it definitely needs to, rehashing the past, rehashing fights and frustration. Just, it's an endless cycle. Here we have the Nine and the Eight of Wands, both in reverse. So, shutting somebody out, off, also no longer willing to engage in a situation that we know is detrimental, that we know is frustrating, that we know doesn't get us anywhere. It's like self-preservation at this point, and that's when the energy of the Empress comes in. She's all about self-preservation. She's about nurturance. She's about nurturing herself. If she's in a situation that doesn't make sense for her to be in, she lets it go. Even if she's spent a long time cultivating a thing, she lets it go. This also talks about cultivating a thing. It talks about cultivating relationships, what we put in, the longevity in a situation. But it's also about like looking at a situation. Does it bring back? Does it yield dividends? Like, does this pay off in the end? It doesn't. It came out in reverse, and it doesn't leave you feeling satisfied. Show me the Six of Wands, the Six of Swords. Show me the Six of Swords. So for the Six of Swords, you have the Emperor here, and you also have this Nine of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck. I want to get to this first. The Nine of Pentacles doesn't just talk about wanting to re-engage in a relationship, wanting to come back. Some of you may be having a difficult time letting this go, and like you need to let it go. That may be perhaps why this came out halfway. Usually halfway, it's like it could be 50-50, you know? But here, you know, some of you may be having a difficult time letting the situation go. Some of you may be feeling uncertain about your productivity, maybe feeling uncertain about how you will do financially. I feel that if you remove yourself from the situation, you will do better financially, but that that follows after like the self-nurturance, the abundance for the self, the taking care of the self. This is about really taking care of yourself, doing what's best for you. And that means either removing negative people in your life, or maybe removing things that don't work, or going to a family member, partner, family, people that love you, that can take care of you for a little bit if you need to separate a situation. Okay. Yeah, so the Emperor. So what I just mentioned there in regard to letting a situation go, and this, like not feeling positive or confident, that's it, confident in how you're showing up in life. And you could also be worried if you have financial ties with this person, you could be worried essentially that this is going to, well, you may not have enough money. You may not have, it's not being stable. It's not trusting your financial situation. It's not trusting how you're like steady in your life, you know? And the Emperor here, it's interesting because it's like, you have the Emperor and the Empress. So together, father-mother energy. Some of you literally could be going to a parent's house. Some of you could be asking for a loan from a family. This talks about long-standing relationships and connections. It's not just like a king and queen. Like this is like grandparent type energy as well. Some of you may be dealing with that. Some of you may just be dealing with like moving towards what you want. By removing yourself from the situation, you end up giving yourself what you want. It puts you on the path to go towards somebody that is your equal. And this isn't just like we make sense together. It's like we make sense together. We think in unison. We are effective together. We rule our kingdom very, very well. We rule our empire. It's not even a kingdom. You rule your empire incredibly well. It's like you're a well-oiled machine working in tandem with one another. That's what that energy feels like. And it feels like that's what you're moving towards. But some of you need to like let go of this situation because it's not helpful at all. So I'm going to go ahead and shuffle and pull an oracle from this deck. I love it. I just got it for my birthday. It's called the Nocturna. Thank you, Jefflin. I love you. Yeah, it's called the Nocturnal Oracle. And they're all hand-painted. I adore them. They're beautiful. So show me energies for Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. Energies for Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus, please. Okay, so show me for Sagittarius. This one's been wanting to come out for a lot of signs, and it finally did for you. Dusk. So these are all hand-painted. I love these cards. These are great. I don't know the meanings of these cards because I just got this deck, but I am going to read it for us, and we can learn together. It's Dusk. So, Dusk. Duality, cycles, beginning. The Dusk card, along with her sister card, Dawn, represents the concept of duality and is the cyclical nature of day and night. Dusk is considered the time right before sunset, when darkness descends from the sky and the sun touches the horizon. During this time, nocturnal creatures start to emerge from their sleep. Where I live, bats can be seen flying around, their dark silhouettes standing out against the blazing sky. For this card, I decided to create a picturesque sunset typically seen on the West Coast or in Hawaii, where I live and frequently visit. So West Coast, Hawaii. Watching the sunset against the ocean gives me a sense of departure as the light leaves these lands for other horizons. Yes, leave this land. And when I say land, like the thing that comes to me is like a long-standing situation. It's like some of you may have land together. Some of you may have property together, a home together. Leave this land. But also when I feel that too, it's like migration type thing, like leave this land, migration. Back in like days of tribes people, when they would leave, typically you would leave with your tribe, your family, you know, go to your family. Some of you are going to be going to your family. And I also feel some of you are going towards the right person that becomes family here. My throat is like scratchy right now. Cyclical nature. Some of you, that fighting cycle is not healthy. It needs to go. It needs to dissolve. That's what it feels like here with that as well. Yeah. Okay. I'm not going to sit here and read this forever. Yeah, I feel by leaving a situation that you recognize is no longer healthy, but that takes to recognize it. You need to recognize that if that's the case. Yeah, let it go. Let it go. I do this thing where I say this thing that makes sense to me when I'm trying to release energy that no longer serves me. I just meditate and I get very quiet with myself and I say, dear energy, thank you for serving me for my highest good. I appreciate you in my life. And now I send you through my body, through my mind. I send you throughout my system and I release you. I release you into the sand, into the ocean. I set you off into the ocean so that you may be filtered through the ocean and then brought back out onto the sand into the new atmosphere and be purified as crystal salt. Bacteria can't grow on salt. Negativity is essentially spiritual bacteria, you know, and so what it does, what salt does, if you look at it very closely under a microscope in the right settings, it refracts light. And so, you know, rainbows refract light, transform things, change them, filter them out, let them go. But I often ask the earth to do that. I put the energy into the earth and I let it go because the earth is constantly moving. The earth is constantly connected to us. We are part of the earth. We're not separate, okay? So you can call upon it if you choose. All right, I'm going to shut this down, Sagittarius. My name is Isel. I'm on YouTube as the Altruistic Mystic. If you feel like this reading was helpful, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. And I will be back for April in 2 weeks. And if you choose to donate to my channel, there's a link in the description box below. All right, take care. Hope you're well. Bye-bye, Sag.